Can you give us your name, please?
My name is Rishabh Panchamya.
What is your address?
My address is Wing A, Floor 8. Mahavir Nagar, Kandivali, West Planning Units.
What do you
From
do?
Bombay. Yeah.
What do you do for a living?
Actually, I am a civil engineering student. I'm in the third year.
What is your dream profession?
Actually, I want to be a snooker player, snooker professional.
Who's your favorite snooker player?
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Do you have any siblings?
No, I'm a single child.
How did you hear about the Maguire program for sure?
Actually, I have the same book of this Beyond Stuttering. So I started reading that book. I started some techniques also from the book. So I started from the book only, and then I came to know about this program.
Could you just end with your name again, please?
Rishabh Panchamya.
Thank you, Rishabh.
Thank you.
Rishabh Panchamya is my name. So as you might have seen in the video, I had great difficulty in saying my own name from the last 16 years. My school and college life was not so colorful. In school, at the time of attendance, I couldn't say present sir, so I would just raise my hand for the attendance. My friends in school used to bully me. They had named me a speaker made in China. I had the privilege to run away from any situation which required saying me the dreadful word, my name. At the age of 10, I started fighting self-hate, guilt, depression, and humiliation. The baggage of this burden was increasing day by day, and I had to carry it to my college life. I had the guilt of not being able to order my favorite food at the restaurant, not being able to say the name of the station at the ticket counter, and people presuming me to be dumb was killing me from inside. I still remember that horrible day in my third year of civil engineering. It was the time of engineering vivas and presentation. The day before, I felt overwhelmed by a sudden rush of anxiety. I was in a state of panic, not being able to eat or sleep properly. Being a bright student, I was confident of doing well, but at the same time, I lacked the confidence to speak. So the same evening, I practiced the subject of my viva with my mother for a few hours. Then it felt better. Finally, the day arrived and we were sitting in a group of 3. The examiner asked the simplest of questions, my own name. That question sent shivers down my spine. I was gasping for breath. I just couldn't get out a word. The examiner looked at me with disgust and passed the same question to my friend sitting right next to me. My friend answered the question with such an ease, which made me feel even more nervous. The next question was, where do you stay? Can't get a word out again. My face turned red. The examiner became impatient and furious. He said, You don't know your name, where do you stay, and you want to become an engineer. Get out. That was too much for me to take. I was taken aback. I shook my head in disappointment and walked out in front of my entire class. So there were thousands of such similar situations where I faced public humiliation. Thankfully, the struggle did not last for long when I joined the Mugwai program, which completely changed my life. And that's why I'm standing here, which was never considered possible a year back. So there are some misconceptions about stuttering. So what you need to know about stuttering? There are plenty of definitions on Google that you may find, but stammering is the failure to articulate or vocalize sounds properly. Stammering affects 10 million people in India and 70 million people across the globe. It is more common in boys than girls, the ratio being 3:1. Stammering has affected many famous personalities such as Hrithik Roshan, Rani Mukherjee, Nani Palkhiwala, Paresh Rawal. What stammering is not? Stammering is not a disease. Stammering is not caused due to nervousness. And stammering is not to be made fun of, as you may have seen in film Golmaal. Stammering was used as a medium to make the audience laugh, which I feel is not correct because it's not the only option left to create comedy. So, if you encounter a person who stammers, please be considerate and patient. Please let them finish their sentences. Don't complete their sentences. That may feel more humiliating. Please speak up when a person who stammers is being bullied or made fun of in school or workplace. So that's it from my side. Now I would like to invite my friend Dave to share his own experience. Over to you, Dave.
Thank you, Rishabh. Hi, everyone. My name is Dev Mehta. And just like Rishabh, saying my name was one of the most difficult things for me since the age of 7 when I first realized that I had a stammer. Growing up with a stammer is virtually unimaginable for anyone who doesn't have this problem. After all, how difficult can it really be to only say your name? Even a 3-year-old can do it, right? But just let me try and give you an idea of how it really feels. Just imagine that you wake up one morning feeling as sprightly and bubbly as ever. You wake up, you have a shower, put on your best clothes, have a big nutritious breakfast, and get ready to meet your boss, who you have an appraisal meeting with in just about 1 hour. So you go down up to your car and are about to start your car. But just as soon as you put your key in, an invisible hand comes from nowhere, gives you a soft punch on the face, only to disappear the very next second. How will you feel? A little confused? A little weird? Right? But you just brush it aside as a minor aberration, primarily because you've got that fantastic promotion on your mind that you just might get in the next 1 hour. So you zip off in your car and you saunter inside the office building, feeling as amazing as ever, because life is beautiful, isn't it? But just as soon as you're about to enter that lift, it happens again. That invisible hand comes from nowhere again, gives you a punch on the face, this time a little harder, and disappears the very next second. And this keeps happening with you each and every day, each and every week, each and every month, each and every year, each single day. How do you feel now? You feel really, really confused about life, isn't it? Extremely scared about life. Unsure of what the next second has to offer. So this is exactly the everyday struggle of someone who's got a stammer. How many times have I told my teacher in school that I didn't know the answer to a particular question when I absolutely did? How many times have I not attended that all-important viva or the presentation when I had mastered the subject? And what's the worst for me? How many times have I forgotten my own name just because I could not get the words Dev Mehta out? How many times? Millions. Millions of times. So I went through school and college trying to avoid each and every public speaking situation I ever encountered. I went to London to do my MBA, and right there I knew the entire course. But when my teacher said, Dave, because you speak so well, please come up here on stage and lead the presentation, I said, I'm sick. He said, you don't look sick. I said, I've got a sore throat, I can't speak. I lied. So I avoided each and every situation until I reached that one situation where I just could not avoid. That job interview, that dreaded job interview. I had to have set the record for the fastest interview ever because I was in and out in exactly 60 seconds. The wonderful lady who took my interview, upon hearing me stammer, said, Dave, who sent you here? Before very politely asking me to leave. That day I was shattered. I was broken. My confidence had hit an all-time low. After all, what is a man or a woman without their careers in today's world, right? So I decided that I'll do everything about this, and I joined the most expensive speech therapy program in Delhi. A speech therapy program that made me speak with marbles in my mouth all day long. Needless to say, that didn't do anything for my speech, but I'm so glad I made it out of that program alive. Of course, who speaks with marbles in their mouth, right? Then I did things like hypnotherapy, acupressure, acupuncture, meditation, breathing, yoga, you name it. Someone said to me, Dave, do this, it will cure your stammer. I ran. I spent lakhs of rupees in doing all these things. It just turned out to be a big hoax. They never helped me. In fact, the situation became so bad that at times I even considered ending it all. There were so many times that I felt that I would amount to nothing in life, so I said, what is the point in living a life where you only have to compromise? So I thought the best way, you go on the roof, you throw yourself down, and all problems are done for good. Just when I was about to lose all hope, I came across the Maguire program on the internet. So me and my wife said, right, this is this last time, we'll give it one more shot. You've done 100 things, one more thing. One last shot. So I packed up my bags, and in the winter of 2015, I headed to Delhi for a 4-day intense residential program on stammering. And that changed my life. So after the program, I have won multiple awards in speaking in my local Toastmasters club. I have addressed a group of over 1,000 people at the Mumbai Marathon. And the best part is that I've given a live interview on radio in which at that time 30% of India was hearing me live on prime time. All of these things I could have never considered possible just 1 year back. So what does that say to you guys? It is not only about the speech. It is about anything in life that scares you. You've got two options. The first is that you feel scared and you run away and you avoid each and everything. And your second option is that you face the fear. That you look at the fear in the eye and say, right, I am stronger than you. Right? No? Exactly. So what is the Maguire program? The Maguire program is a speech therapy program that looks at speech from a physical and a psych. Yeah, I think it is the previous one. No worries. So the Maguire program is the only speech therapy program that I have come across that looks at speech from a psychological and a physical angle. So there are 4 basic principles to the Maguire program. The first is the coastal breathing. Now when you guys breathe through the crural part of your diaphragm, which is right here on top, right? But for guys like us, our crural diaphragm has been trained over the years to respond negatively to fear, right? So when we guys are speaking, that diaphragm freezes and hence the words don't come out. So instead we have one option that we can retrain the diaphragm to actually not respond to fear, which will take about 20 million years, or we can bypass that and speak from the costal part of our diaphragm, which over the years has not been trained to respond negatively to fear. So incidentally, it is the costal diaphragm that the opera singers also use when they are singing to project their voice. Right? The second and the really most important part is to push your comfort zones. So before I had actually done the program, my comfort zone was only my friends and just a few members of my family. Now, as I said, I've spoken to groups of over 1,000 and it doesn't make a difference to me. The third one is assertive self-acceptance. So you have a speech impediment, right? So either you can just sit there and say, yeah, I've got a speech problem and I can't do anything about it. Or you can assertively say, right, I do have a speech problem, but I also have the mindset, the determination, and the tools and techniques to combat my speech problem. And the fourth is the incredible support network that we guys have in 15 countries across the world. So anyone who's got a speech impediment, there are so many times when you feel lonely. You feel alone. So what do you do at that time? It is great if you've got someone to speak to. So you can just reach out on the phone, on Skype, on social media, and all across the world. You will always have someone who will be willing to listen. So that's it. In conclusion, all I'd like to say is that 1 year ago, this thing was impossible for us. I had been rejected in hundreds of interviews all across the world, in fact. And now I have my own company. Right. So it is just that if you face your fears head on, there is so much that you can achieve. So now, if you guys have any kind of questions, then we can take your questions. Anyone like you, over here, who's got a stammering problem? Yeah? No? See, because if you do, you can hide your entire life, and it is just going to keep getting worse. Sometime in life, you're going to have to get up and say, right, I've had enough. I've had enough of the compromises that I've done throughout my life, and I'm not going to do them anymore. Even if it murders me, even if I die, I am not going to compromise in my life anymore. So you get up, you face your fear, and that's the end of it. Believe me, if I just say to you, when you embrace your fear, it doesn't have any strength over you. It is only when you run away from your fear, it just overtakes your mind completely. Still, no one here who's got a stammering issue? No one, they're all fluid. What a waste of time.
Questions, and you can ask. If anyone has any questions or doubts, then feel free to ask.
Something about speech, about anything at all. Do you have any questions?
No, if you can tell us some coordination, like breathing coordination or something that will help someone. Maybe we don't have anyone out here, but in our friends, family circle somewhere.
Yeah.
And in some way we can help them.
So the only suggestion which I would like to give is the one thing that the people can reach out is the TISA, the Indian Stammering Association. The second one is you can look out for books called Redefining Stuttering. It's by John Harrison. And that's the only thing. And the breathing that we use in the program is called the coastal breathing. So just like Dave said, the crural diaphragm contracts when the diaphragm should relax. So there is no airflow, so you gasp or breathe like this. But when you breathe from the coastal diaphragm, which is not trained to fear, so it relaxes when it is responding to fear, but it requires a lot of practice, and that's what we do on the program. And the best part, the main part is acceptance. That's the day you start accepting your problem, success starts on that day.
On that day.
Yeah.
So if you are interested in the program, then this has some information, and you can go on the internet and so on.
Yeah. Okay. That's all from our side. So we would like to thank you for giving us your precious time from your busy schedule. And it was great having you all of you here.
Sure. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And special thanks to Isha. So please convey.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that.
Thank you.
Sure.